Police arrest a man they say injured his girlfriend's 4-year-old child.
It's a wet start to the weekend for much of central and eastern Kentucky, but Arctic air is ready to surge back in. We're tracking it with the hour-by-hour forecast just ahead.
A group of attorneys general meet to look for ways to stop gun violence in the U.S.
This is WKYT News at 4:30.
Good afternoon. On this Friday, Lexington police have charged a man with abuse. They say he injured his girlfriend's 4-year-old.
Police arrested Carl Carpenter following the incident at a home on Crosby Drive last night. One neighbor says Carpenter came to him for help after the little boy was injured. WKYT's Mark Barber talks to that neighbor in our top story at 4:30.
When police arrested Carl Carpenter yesterday afternoon, it was on unrelated charges. But as their investigation went on, the 38-year-old was also charged with first-degree criminal abuse because police say he admitted to officers that he hurt his girlfriend's 4-year-old. The boy is now being treated for a serious internal head injury at Kentucky Children's Hospital. Neighbor Andy Anderson says the boy and his mother's boyfriend showed up at his door on Crosby Drive late yesterday afternoon. He tells WKYT that Carpenter asked to use his phone to reach the 4-year-old's mother, who was at work. Anderson says he called her because the boy had a large wound on his forehead. When Anderson asked the 4-year-old what happened, he said a student hit him on the bus. Then, about an hour and a half later, Anderson says the 38-year-old ran back over to his house and asked him to call 911. This time, he said the boy was not responsive because he fell down a flight of stairs. According to an arrest citation, the boy was hurt because Carpenter pulled him down the stairs.
It's an awful situation, and there's no words for it. Just no words for it. I mean, you can't help but tearing up, just thinking about it.
At this time, police say they will not release any information about the boy's injuries. They are also not talking about any evidence that they may have found when they searched the home. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Carpenter did not want to talk to us about the case from the Fayette County Detention Center. Gunfire damaged a Lexington apartment overnight. It happened about midnight on Camelot Drive. Police say someone called saying a bullet came flying into their home. Police were able to figure out that it was fired from a neighboring apartment, but when they got there, they say no one was in that unit.
Police are looking for the man who they say tried to rob a store. Deputies say it happened last night at the Saddlebrook Dollar Store on Kentucky 192. Police say a man went into the store and straight to the cashier. Deputies say the suspect implied he had a weapon and demanded money. But the store's assistant manager tried to pull the bandana off the man's face and he ran. Deputies are looking for a man about 6 feet tall and thinly built. He was last seen wearing a dark gray hoodie, a blue bandana, and blue jeans.
Well, we have some folks seeing rain out there this afternoon.
And with it comes much colder air. Much colder air later. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's telling us what? Well, I guess I'm looking at Monday, and I shouldn't even look at Monday. I should look at Saturday and Sunday.
You know
right?
what? Just do one of these. Don't even just whistle past the graveyard. Don't even look at Monday. We are dealing with rain across parts of the area as of now, especially into central Kentucky. Look at the wet roads into Frankfort, up into Florence. Notice how temperatures here are a little colder into the low 40s. We've had some showers on and off across Lexington, 49 out at the airport, Mountain Parkway corridor. Well, no rain as of yet. That's going to change, though, as we go through the next little bit. Those gusty showers into central Kentucky just ahead of our cold front. We're actually going to see some more developing to the west of us. Had a big swath of rain southeastern Kentucky zipping on through the area. What we're dealing with now, showers into central Kentucky. By the showery nature, means it's not raining everywhere at once, but most areas will at least see some rain before the evening is over. Down into Nicholasville, across 152 toward Harrodsburg and Danville. Heavier rains, back edge though beginning to creep on into town. London, Corbin, Somerset, little gusty band of some raindrops working right on top of the area. Here's our cold front to the west. That's the front that will usher in colder weather for the day tomorrow, and then it's the front that's coming in behind that will get your attention with Arctic air. 7-day forecast is full of some cold and a few snow threats in a few minutes.
Thank you, Chris. The Kentucky House has approved a bill allowing some convicted felons to clear their records. The House voted 80-11 to allow people convicted of Class D felonies to have their records expunged 5 years after completing their sentence or probation. A Class D felony is the lowest level felony in this state. And the bill does not apply to people convicted of sex crimes, child pornography, human trafficking, or public corruption. An organization is getting ready for the annual count of Kentucky's homeless population. The K count will begin at sunrise on January 27th and continue for 24 hours. The results of that count show the resources needed in each community and helps determine how much federal funding will be awarded. The Kentucky Housing Corporation is looking for volunteers to help with the count. Gun violence is an issue facing many communities across this country. Here in Lexington, there have been 4 deadly shootings since the start of the new year and at least 6 assaults involving guns.
Earlier today, 3 attorneys general from D.C., Maryland, and Virginia came together to address the issue. Kelly Meyer shows us what they discussed.
The attorneys general met here in Washington, D.C. for what they're calling a historic meeting, which they hope will lead to historic change. It was a hands across the Potomac moment. 3 attorneys general from Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia coming together for what they're calling a first-of-its-kind meeting to find ways to prevent and reduce gun violence.
We clearly have a problem regionally, nationally. Nationally, we lose over 30,000 people a year to gun violence.
They broke it down in their region at about 850 people in Virginia, 550 in Maryland, and 500 in D.C. die every year due to gun violence. Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring talks about seeing this firsthand when he visited a vigil to honor the lives of Allison Parker and Adam Ward, the 2 WDBJ journalists who were shot and killed on live television in Roanoke last August.
You talk to somebody like that who has suffered such tremendous loss. There is such an emptiness. You have to feel like there is more that we can do, and there is more that we can do.
During their hour-long meeting, they established a line of information sharing between the 3 offices, and they'll also be designating a point person to handle the line of communication.
Through regional cooperation, we can stem the tide of gun violence.
As far as a timeline as to when the work will start, they tell us as soon as tomorrow. Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer.
And the 3 say this partnership will help them to work regionally to reduce gun violence and illegal gun sales and possession. A Louisville bridge will close next week. One lane of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Bridge is open right now, but it's expected to close overnight Monday. The closure will last about 6 months while crews install a new flooring system. One lane will reopen in July, while the remaining lanes won't reopen until late 2016. In the meantime, the new Lincoln Bridge will carry Interstate 65 traffic.
11 Kentucky teachers who did a Powerball office pool collected their winnings today. The group bought a $1 million ticket at the BP Smoke Shop in Paducah. They work at the McNabb Head Start program, and they call themselves the Tiny Tornadoes. 2 other $1 million tickets were sold in Hazard and Walton. Players in Benton, Mount Sterling, Harrodsburg, and Florence bought $50,000 winning tickets.
If you think painting a portrait is the last thing you could do, this robot is here to help. I'm Reja Jang in Tysons Corner, Virginia. I'll show you how coming up.
The College for Technical Education is a local college that understands the needs of Central Kentucky. Gain independence in as little as 9 months with hands-on training programs taught by industry professionals. Call 859-272-5225 or log on to cte.edu. Financial aid available to those who qualify.
Important message for women and men ages 50 to 85. Please write down this toll-free number now. Right now in areas like yours, people are receiving this free information kit for guaranteed acceptance life insurance with a rate lock through the Colonial Penn program. If you're on a fixed income or concerned about rising prices, learn about affordable whole life insurance with a lifetime rate lock that guarantees your rate can never increase for any reason. If you did not receive your information or if you misplaced it, call this number now and we'll rush it to you. Your acceptance is guaranteed with no health questions. Please stand by to learn more.
I'm Alex Trebek, and the announcement you just heard is for a popular and affordable life insurance plan with a rate lock guarantee. That means your rate is locked in for life and can never increase. Did you get your free information kit in the mail? If not, please call this toll-free number now. In the last month alone, thousands have called about this plan with the rate lock guarantee through the Colonial Penn program. And here's why. This plan is affordable, with coverage options for just $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. Your rate is locked in and can never go up. And your acceptance is guaranteed. You cannot be turned down because of your health. See how much coverage you can get for just $9.95 a month. Call now for your free information kit. Don't wait. Call today.
Call 1-800-909-4488 for your free information and free gift. There's no obligation. That's 1-800-909-4488. Or visit us online at colonialpenn.com. That number again is 1-800-909-4488. Call now.
Are you creative and love the beauty industry? Train to be a cosmetologist at a Farouk Chi Partner School in Lexington or Winchester. Call CTE today at 859-272-5225 or log on to cte.edu. Clinic services provided by students, supervised by professionals.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Well, we're still ahead of the cold front, so temperatures are up into the high 40s to around 50. But as soon as you get some rain outside your house, a lot of folks have been seeing it, those thermometers drop, then the cold air is lurking just to our west. 50 degrees right now, Richmond and Mount Sterling. Congrats, you're the warmest across the entire area. Not too far behind Lexington, though. Notice how quickly the numbers drop here. Frankfort down into the Danville area, and those numbers really drop off the farther west and northwest that we go. Can you find the front on this map? 55 Paducah, 39 St. Louis, 22 into Des Moines. Well, we're ahead of that front, so we've got rains that are blowing on across the area as we speak. Where you see some darker greens, a little bit of yellow, some orange in there. It's coming down at a pretty good clip here across parts of north central Kentucky, Cynthiana, down into sections of Bourbon County, Sadieville, Georgetown, over into the capital city of Frankfort, and right now across the downtown Lexington area. Heaviest rains of the entire afternoon are pressing on through, quick hitting heavy downpours that we're seeing from Harrodsburg down into Danville as well, and that action lines up from Rockcastle County through Pulaski County over toward the good folks into Monticello, Wayne County. That's going to continue to roll its way on toward the east. A lot of clouds still coming in behind our front. You can really pick out where the front is. Notice how when the front goes through, you get a little bit of clearing, then all of a sudden northwesterly winds. Behind that, you see more clouds and a little bit of rain and snow shower action developing to our west. Hour by hour forecast this evening, we say goodbye to the mild temperatures. We had a nice little run of about a day and a half. By tomorrow morning, it's upper 20s and low 30s, and then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to hang generally 30 to 35 degrees in most areas. A lot of clouds around, some snowflakes, flurries, out and out snow shower possibility. Then we go into tomorrow night and into Sunday morning. Upper 20s to start out the day on Sunday. We get a little spike. Southeastern Kentucky, by the way, there's a snow system that's going to try to swipe the higher elevations of southeastern Kentucky Sunday morning. Then we get that Arctic front into town by Sunday evening. Models are likely a little too warm for those lows on Monday morning. I think they're dead on, though, with the afternoon highs for Monday. We're going to struggle on Monday to get out of the teens, and it is that same flow we were looking at yesterday that will drive the cold from the Arctic Circle across the high plains, the Midwest, the Great Lakes. This area, by the way, they're going to be talking about 20 to 30 below zero in a lot of cases. We're not getting in on that. We're just getting in on a little chunk of that. But locally, that's way below normal. 17 for a high on Monday. Bitterly cold day. Watch your Sunday. Could be a snow shower or two, especially with that front moving in into the evening. Best snow chance potentially we've had so far this winter, coming down the pike Wednesday and Thursday with a system that scoots in from the west. We'll keep a close eye on that. But yeah, that's a forecast that really looks like the dead of January.
Mm-hmm. No doubt that winter is here and here to stay for a while.
It's going to be a while. That's right.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
A Kentucky-based fast food chain is adding a little Tennessee to its chicken. KFC will roll out Nashville hot chicken on Monday. It pays homage to a popular local specialty in the Music City. You'll be able to get the spicy chicken in more than 4,000 of its U.S. stores. It is the fourth chicken flavor KFC has added to the menu in the chain's 86-year history. One artist wanted to create more artwork in less time, so he turned to a high-tech project.
Weijia Jiang shows us what he invented.
It's a work of art 10 years in the making. Not the painting, the robot. Pindar Van Arman has spent the past decade developing the gadget that uses artificial intelligence to create one-of-a-kind portraits.
This was before I figured out how to make smooth curves, and the newest one I got it all figured out. Just took a couple years.
And unlike most people, the robot is messy.
From when the brushstroke hits, you can see other mistakes, you can see paint dripping, and it's just it's a mess, and that's what makes it much more interesting than a printout or a photo.
The robot can paint on its own, but the fun is interacting with it. As I use my finger to trace this picture on a tablet, the robot is translating my movements into brush strokes.
I used to think that the end goal of this art was to make a beautiful canvas, and I totally misinterpreted what was important about this.
Dave LeCouch isn't an artist, but he's teamed up with the robot to create several portraits. They're a big hit with his wife.
She loved it. She was ecstatic. Just something different than the stuff that's out there.
It can take up to a day to complete a piece of art. Van Arman wants to develop a faster model with 2 arms.
It'll look ridiculous. It'll make a big mess. It's a lot of technical challenges, but the end result's going to be something that I hope is fun to use.
An evolving art form, one stroke at a time. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Tysons Corner, Virginia.
And with the help of a recent Kickstarter campaign, Pindar is now completing his 5th robot, which he says will paint even faster than the one he has now. And it wasn't kidding about the mess. The robot goes through about $10 in acrylic paint every day. Get ready for pandemonium at Smithsonian's National Zoo in Washington, D.C. The zoo's newest giant panda cub will have his first public debut tomorrow. The Panda House has been closed for months since Bei was born. Keepers have been panda-proofing the exhibit before his debut, and his debut is expected to be a huge hit. Already, the 24-hour Panda Cam has had 5.5 million views.
Red, White, and Boom 2016 tickets are now on sale. How you can get yours when we return here on WKYT.
CBS Tonight. This company lights up the Vegas Strip, but this boss will go to new heights in the most dangerous.
This is low voltage. No, this is extremely high voltage. Oh, baby.
Undercover task ever.
I get electrocuted pretty regularly.
I have some concern about that. Oh, gosh.
New Undercover Boss, CBS Tonight, or stream it live or on demand. It ain't easy being a genius.
We do not do dangerous. We do calculations.
Welcome to Scorpion, everyone.
Scorpion, CBS this Monday.
Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield wants to know, what's your health insurance IQ?
True or false? A lot of people qualify for financial help to lower the cost of their health insurance. False? Actually, millions of people have qualified for financial help on their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. A family of 4 making about $95,000 a year or less may qualify. You are required by law to have health coverage.
True.
Yep. Most people were required to have health coverage starting in 2014.
Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield can help protect your family's health with one easy call.
Did you know all their plans cover doctor visits, prescription drugs, hospital stays, and more?
Yes, with $0 preventive care.
The deadline to enroll is earlier this year, so don't wait. Call now for free expert guidance and a free quote. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Call us at 1-800-769-7581 for a free quote. That's 1-800-769-7581.
Suff's Furniture and Oriental Rugs is having a fantastic holiday sale. Come in and shop and save on great furniture. Save up to $500 on selected Lazy Boy recliners, now only $392. Save $1,000 off Sealy queen sets, now only $799. Save an additional 25% off all Tempur-Pedic floor models. This sale is so big, even Vito is helping to get ready for this fantastic holiday sale at Suff's Furniture and Oriental Rugs.
I grew up in Harlem, but I've lived in Lexington since graduating from UK, and it's given me a real appreciation for what it means to stand for Kentucky. Whether it's a big city or a small town, the people of Kentucky want our state to succeed. And we here at WKYT want to do our part to share the stories of difference makers who make our state a better place to live. I'm WKYT's Barbara Bailey, and I stand for Kentucky.
Every morning is an eye-opening morning on CBS This Morning. Start with responsible, intelligent information and conversation.
Take me back to that moment that we just saw in this confrontation.
Searchers race to save people trapped for days in Colorado. In an interview you'll see only on CBS This Morning.
Start with world-class original reporting. Start thinking. CBS This Morning.
Actor Sean Penn says his interview with drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was intended to start a conversation about the policy on the war on drugs. When Penn's shocking 10,000-word article in Rolling Stone was published last weekend, most of the news coverage was about El Chapo's confessions, Penn's potential legal liabilities, and how he landed the meeting in the first place. Penn was hoping for a different outcome. He told CBS's Charlie Rose his article has failed.
We had met with him many weeks earlier.
On October 2nd.
On October 2nd. In a place nowhere near where he was captured. We're not smarter than the DEA or the Mexican intelligence. We had a contact upon which we were able to facilitate an invitation.
Do you believe that the Mexican government released this in part because they wanted to see you blamed and to put you at risk?
Yes.
They wanted to encourage the cartel to put you in their crosshairs.
Yes.
You can see Penn's entire interview with Charlie Rose Sunday on 60 Minutes right here on WKYT. It is a big day for country music fans. Tickets for Red, White, and Boom went on sale this morning.
This is going to be huge. The music festival will be held from September 2nd through the 4th. And our Deanne Stevens is out and about at Whitaker Bank Ballpark with more on how you can go to it. Deanne?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We are here at Whitaker Bank Ballpark. Officer Dawn and I, we've been here. We started broadcasting about 5:30 this morning.
Yep, tickets went on sale this morning at 10 o'clock for Red, White, and Boom 2016. We're all set.
Yeah, it was a very exciting day, too, because we had all the radio stations. We had a Louisville station, a Huntington station, all here in preparation for, like, the biggest country concert, I'm just going to go ahead and say ever, because that's how we feel.
Well, you've got Jason Aldean, Eric Church, Florida Georgia Line, and more, all in Lexington for a 3-day music festival. It will be the biggest thing in Kentucky, let's put it that way.
Yeah,
at the very least.
Andy Shea with Lexington Legends. Come on in here. Andy, you know how big this is. You and Michael been working on putting this together. This has really put you guys on the map, too, here at Whitaker Bank Ballpark.
This is amazing. It certainly has, and as Don said, in the state of Kentucky and certainly in the minor league baseball world. I mean, this is, everyone's jaws are dropping in the minor league baseball and the major league baseball world with the Kansas City Royals. They can't believe, and they're coming off their World Series championship, and they can't believe we've got this coming. So it's amazing.
I said, are you going to invite some players out? I mean, we wouldn't mind hosting them here in Lexington, too.
You know what? That should be part of their contract. Exactly. Have a little Labor Day break and come visit the ballpark in Lexington.
That's right. Michael Jordan, come on in here with iHeartMedia. Michael, this has been very exciting. Tickets went on sale at 10 o'clock today. There are a few left. How can folks get them, and what is the best way to do that?
You can get tickets online at LexingtonLegends.com. You can call 422-RUNS, or you can visit redwhiteandboom.com for all the information on the show. Still tickets available. Get them now. We don't expect them to last till September, so go ahead and make plans now and get those tickets. We can't wait for a big Red, White, and Boom this year.
We are super excited for Red, White, and Boom 2016. I'm Deanne Stevens with Officer Dawn out and about today.
Very exciting. A Kentucky man is heading to Hollywood for the next round of American Idol. Elvie Shane of Grayson County brought a little taste of Southern comfort to the show as the final audition last night in Little Rock, Arkansas. Shane talked about his wife and child and turning his life around after getting involved in drugs before singing House of the Rising Sun for the judges.
Come on, come on. So go tell my baby brother not to do as I have done, to shun that house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun.
The judges say that he has a real gift and a spectacular voice. Shane got a yes from all 3 judges, who then asked to meet his family before giving him a golden ticket to Hollywood.
Nice to meet you. Massive newly discovered dinosaur is now on display. We'll show you just how big this guy is next, and take a look at this.
I'm Alex Trebek. If you're age 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one. But you can get a lifetime rate lock through the Colonial Penn program. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want affordable life insurance that's simple to get. Coverage options for just $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase. Guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Guaranteed. And your acceptance is guaranteed, with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself. You'll also get a free gift with great information. Both are free, with no obligation. Don't miss out. Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call 1-800-440-4200 for your free information and a free gift. There's no obligation. That's 1-800-440-4200. Or visit us online at colonialpenn.com. That number again is 1-800-440-4200. 1-800-440-4200. Call now.
Arby's Mix and Match 2 for $5 is back. Mix and match 2 of these tasty things for just $5. What the heck are those? Bacon, ranch, and cheddar on curly fries? You should definitely get those for one of your tasty things. Then get another thing. But start with the loaded curly fries for sure. Arby's, we have the meats.
All right, we've been talking about some rain, and I think I hear some right outside the studio here.
Right, if we had a sky roof or some kind of thing up there we could see. Chris, would we see a lot of rain? Or you've got cameras over there.
Yeah, we've got sky cams. We got you covered. Wherever you want to look at, chances are we can find it on our network of cams. But we've picked 4 locations right now. Look how wet it is in Frankfort. Look how wet it is in northern Kentucky. Look at the backup on the interstate there. Boy, just a little bit of rain, and all of a sudden on a Friday afternoon at rush hour, things can get a little crazy. Starting to rain Lexington. Temperatures are dropping quickly now, 40 to 45 into most of the area. And that Defender radar network is indeed picking up on more rains that are pressing into central Kentucky. Timing on those rains across the Lexington area, not good news for the evening commute. I suspect it is busy out there. Let's check in now with Officer Don for an update on traffic.
I work in Lexington traffic. We're working several collisions right now. There are at least 5 around town, as a matter of fact, because we look at the live view and then work our way to the wrecks. There's one on Reading Road. Also, police continue to work across on Richmond Road, and they're still clearing one up on the south side near Lane Allen. But for now, it looks like we're getting past most of the collisions with at least one lane open to clear them, but still causing some problems around town. As far as drive times go, we're okay outbound Nicholasville Road per Jessamine County. It looks like we're dealing with about a normal traffic ride across the Clays Ferry Bridge into Madison County toward Richmond and Scott County on 75 in a lot better shape today than it was yesterday, as you can see. Now back to you in the studio.
Officer Don, thank you. A newly discovered dinosaur goes on display in a dad's creative denial.
It's a video that will have you talking. Take a look at this. This 100-foot-long dinosaur is now on display at the American Museum of Natural History. The prehistoric creature is so large, it tops the museum's model of a blue whale by about 30 feet. The mysterious dinosaur was discovered in the Patagonian Desert region of Argentina back in 2014. It took crews nearly 2 years to unearth the new species. And scientists say the giant is part of the lizard-like titanosaur group and likely roamed the Earth 100 million years ago.
All right, a St. Louis dad decided to go the corporate route when his son asked for an advance on his allowance. The son's request for $20 was met with this denial letter from the CEO of Dad Savings and Loan, complete with the institution's letterhead and slogan, because apparently I look like I'm made of money. The denial cited the son's insufficient funds and a history of not doing chores. The letter says he can appeal to the complaint department. Parents everywhere are writing that down right now.
Very creative. And the first spacewalk of this year included another first. Astronaut Tim Peake of the European Space Agency became the first official British spacewalker today. He completed a 6-hour walk to make repairs to the International Space Station. U.S. Army Colonel Timothy Copra joined Peake for the walk. And what a magnificent experience, one you'll never forget. That must be.
No matter your age, space is still fascinating,
it is.
no matter what. All right, stick with us. Here's what we're working on for you now at 5 o'clock.